Well, okie dokie. We're still on the subject of the lame man being healed at the pool of Bethesda, and then the Pharisees being critical of Jesus doing it on the Sabbath. Where in the world did that come from? Well, the rabbis, when they said, what constitutes work on the Sabbath? So they got how many steps you could walk, how much weight you could carry, or whether you could tie a knot in a rope, all that kind of stuff. Well, what about healing? Well, they said, well, if somebody is really sick on the Sabbath, if it looks like they're dying, it's okay to keep them from dying. But if it doesn't look like they're dying, then if you do something on the Sabbath to make them better, that's work. I'm still trying to find that in here, and I haven't been successful. Crazy! But it's really not my place to call other people crazy. I bet there are things about me. But so they're criticizing Jesus for a man who'd been lame for 38 years finally being able to walk. Crazy. But hey, he wasn't dying, so according to them, he shouldn't have done that on the Sabbath. So, since he had just made the statement in verse 17, up to this time my Father works and I work. In other words, he was saying, well, actually, God is doing this, and so you're criticizing God for healing on the Sabbath. And it says, for this reason, verse 18, the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him. Did you get that? Because he didn't play by the rules of their little game of Mother May I, All the more to kill him because he not only was breaking the Sabbath by making a guy well, but also calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. You see, according to the Jews, if you have a father and a son, the father and the son are of the same essence. They're made of the same stuff. Father, son, grandson, you're still made of the same stuff. And so, like in my life, the Cokers are all made of Coker. Okay, we're made of the same essence. And so when he said, my Father, they're saying, he's saying he's made of the same stuff that God's made of. So that's why it said they're angry, wanting to kill him because he called God his own Father, making himself equal with God. Philippians chapter 2 says that he didn't count equality with God something to hold on to. Okay? For the sake of the mission, it says he didn't count equality with God something to be grasped, but he emptied himself. And he made himself in the form of a human, being obedient as a servant, and he was obedient all the way to death on the cross. So for the sake of the mission, one of the persons of the Trinity took on human form, lived the life that nobody else was able to live, the perfect, obedient life, and died the death that everybody deserves to die. So that's really what this was all about. And so he did not hesitate to call God his Father. He did it in chapter 2, and he does it here again in chapter 5. And boy, are they mad. Yeah. Mad enough to crucify him. But that was part of the plan. Have a great day.